So I'm sitting here on my front porch and I want to talk with you about mindset. Now, this has come up recently and it's been really illuminating helping somebody with their mindset regarding their musical practice because it's brought up a lot of memories for me. So I'm 43 years old, and when I was in college, like 23 years ago, I had a really hard time with my mindset regarding music. I approached my practice feeling like I was already behind other people, behind my peers, behind what my instructors seemed to think where they thought I should be. So I just felt every time I entered the practice room that it didn't really even matter how much time I sunk into learning my instrument because I already wasn't good enough and probably wasn't going to get good enough. And bear in mind that good enough is a very subjective thing, right? Um, and so, what I didn't realize I was doing at that time was firing the neuron for fear and sense of lack with the neurons for practicing. Now, as you know, what we fire together wires together. So I just figured out this morning, I am today years old, figuring out that for decades I was firing together the emotion of feeling not good enough and music. Whew. So, without meaning to, every time I practiced, I was saying a lot of crappy things to myself. I was not a nice person to Kat. Um, I was reinforcing those beliefs that I wasn't good enough, that I shouldn't be still struggling with this, or I should know this already, or this should be easier, I should have learned this last year. All of those limiting beliefs were coming up, and because I had the mindset of lack and fear and already being behind and probably never going to get to where I should be, I was reinforcing all of that every time I practiced. I did that for decades. And I didn't know better. And I had a piano teacher in college who was very happy to reinforce all of those beliefs. So I didn't play the piano for 7 years after I graduated from tech, because I heard her voice every time I sat at the piano. And it wasn't until I got really mad about it one day. I was sitting at the piano. I had a violin student who wanted to learn piano, so I was trying. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and berate myself and carry on that abuse after the person's, not there anymore, telling me all that stuff. I'm gonna be curious, and I'm going to give myself permission to be exactly where I am in my practice today, right now, in this moment. I'm not going to feed myself a bunch of, I should be such and such, I should know whatever, I shouldn't be struggling with this. I'm just going to accept exactly where I am right now and be curious about my practice. You guys, everything changed that day. Everything. Instead of firing together all of those negative beliefs in my practice, I started firing together curiosity and grace and acceptance with music. I think that is our birthright, and I think that gets taken from us in toxic environments and by people who just don't know better, and some people who do. But I think that it's our birthright to be curious about creativity and to be curious about music and to experiment, not heap shame and judgment on ourselves or on others. So I just wanted to share that with you. that when we practice from curiosity and joy, we actually learn faster. Because you have to accept exactly where you are to get anywhere different. And I had been really fighting that acceptance for a long time. So my wish for you is to find and create that acceptance for your own self in music and as many things as possible.